Freeman of Christ Study Bible, The Fall of Humanity, Deception of Eve, chapter 2, verse 11 through 15, First Timothy. Let's get into that, then get into the Magic Johnson, like Bird book, and March with Mad, the game that transformed basketball. Let's get into that. Let's get into the Word of God first. 1998. Chapter 2, verse 11 through 15. Let's get into it. Section B. All right. A woman should learn in quietness and for submission. Do not permit a woman to teach her to have authority over a man. She must be silent. For Adam was formed first, then Eve. And Adam was not the one deceived. It was the woman who was deceived and became a sinner. But women will be saved through childbearing if they continue in faith, love, and holiness and propriety. Holiness and propriety. Let's get into the deception of Eve. Like Adam, the woman was not spoken into existence as was the rest of creation. Like Adam, however, she was not an independent creature formed from dust. God made the woman from a part of the man. Adam knew the difference instantly, proclaimed, "This is now bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh." The man was honored by the acknowledgement that the woman was created for him. The woman was honored by the acknowledgement that the man was incomplete without her. In humility, the woman acknowledged that she was made for man. In humility, the man acknowledged that he was incomplete without the woman. They were not created to be in competition with one another. Eve came into being by the power of God from man, from whom she was called to be a helper and a complementary relationship. The fact that Satan could deceive Eve, which led her to believe a lie, is a sober reality of life. Good people, even the innocent people, can be deceived. Deception is a major tool of Satan. If you knew you were being deceived, you no longer would be deceived. You are deceived when you believe something to be true that is not true. Believing the lies of Satan brought swift judgment upon Eve. God tells her, "I will greatly increase your pains and childbearing. With pain, you will give birth to children. Your desire will be for your husband. He will rule over you." So any mother can testify to the first part of the curse being true. The second part of the curse has been far more difficult to work out in our homes, churches, and societies. Apostle Paul wrote, "I do not permit a woman to teach or to have authority over a man. The order of creation is the basis for this instruction to the churches. The issue is one of authority, not inferiority. It is not meant to stifle a woman's contribution to the church. Every child of God, regardless of gender, is gifted. Each one should be encouraged to use his or her gifts and talents to the glory of God. The issue addressed in 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 12 refers to the establishment of doctrine and to proclaim the truth in love, which we all are commanded to do. But thus this commandment to an extreme has caused undue hardship to women, has prohibited them from making a valuable contribution to the churches and societies. Rebelling against this commandment, however, is another extreme. One has resulted in the word of God being dishonored. We are placed under spiritual authority for our own protection. Submission does not ever suggest inferiority. The sin of Adam, that's going to be discussed tomorrow. Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 16 to 19. Get into this Larry Bird, Magic Johnson book. And March with Mad, get into that real quick. Chapter 13. In this chapter, no, obviously they won the championship. That was already discussed. Already discussed that in the previous chapters about what they did. So now it's close to the end of the book, basically. That's what it's about. So let's get to chapter 13. Didn't take long for Bill Hatch to realize how different life was going to be after Larry Bird. On the first day of practice in the fall of 1969, they now talking about life after Larry Bird, what took place after that, stuff like that. It's going to bounce around a little bit. Basically, the Sycamores were not going back to the Final Four without Bird. With 4 returning stars, there was reason to believe they could compete for another Missouri Valley Conference title. This is basically just a chapter talking about that, and then They had a midseason injury by Bob Heaton, and they dropped 8 of their last 13, finished 16-11. They ended up fifth in the conference, failed to make the tournament. So that shows you how great Larry Bird was. He was a great player. Without him, they wasn't going to be the same. This talking about years after that, 1980, 81, they were 9-18. So Larry Bird definitely hurt the program. So he's just a transformative, player for that team. As far as the Lakers, Michigan State, obviously they lost Magic. So in this chapter, we talk about how the regular season NBA ratings dropped a whopping 29% from the year before. CBS made sure to milk the arrival of Magic and Bird to the pros for all it was worth. So they talk about the first national game of the week in 1979-80 was between the Lakers and the Celtics at Boston Garden on January 18th, 1980. So the network took the fight right to the competition by moving the tip-off to 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so it will air head-to-head with Syracuse-Purdue game on NBC. That marked the first time, according to Al McGuire at the time, that nationally televised college and pro games were beginning at the same time. I don't know why they are doing it. I don't want to guess. They are coming to challenge us with the two guys that we made. So it would take a while for the NBA to take off as a television franchise. May 16, 1980, obviously, the Lakers played the Sixers. Magic did his thing. 42 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists. Problem is that CBS at the time did not even broadcast the game live. It was not taped today. So, talked about that. It's going through the process of trying to market Magic and Bird through the CBS television. As far as like CBS, they got the package, got a deal with NCAA on March 4th. They announced they had reached a 3-year deal with CBS that would begin with the 1982 tournament, and everything took off with that. They still have it. NBC still hope that when the new CBS deal expired, NBC could either get the tournament back or convince the NCAA to put it on both networks. So NBC continued to go full bore on its regular season college basketball program. Then here comes the ascent of ESPN. CBS aired 16 regular season games and 16 NCAA tournament games of the 1981-82 season. NBC produced 27 games, 91 was ESPN, stuff like that. So like I said, that championship game between Magic and Bird definitely was a turning point. It led to a lot of great things. In 1982, obviously Michael Jordan hits the game-winning jumper against Georgetown in '82. It was just a surge because of what happened with Magic and Bird and stuff like that. Big East became, a prominent, conference. Obviously, as far as the Spurs is concerned, when they won the championship in '79, Heathcote would coach another 16 years in East Lansing, but never made it back to the Final Four. He never got past the Sweet 16. He had great players. He had players like Scott Skiles, Steve Smith, Kevin Willis, Sean Westbrook. But they never made to the past the Sweet 16, stuff like that. So they had the opportunities to win championships. They lost in '86 to the Jayhawks in the major Midwest Regional semifinal. Spartans lost in overtime in Sweet 16 against Georgia Tech. Kenny Anderson hit a shot at the end of regulation that replays showed had come after time had expired. Stuff like that. So they had some talented players, but not the same as as far as success of winning championships like they did in '79 and stuff like that. So come to the close of this book. So I just want to go over this book a little bit, keep it moving. That's it. Talk about how Magic and Bird met in the finals, stuff like that. How they first met, shooting a commercial together and stuff like that, things of that nature. How they did in their rookie years. So simple, simple. That's it. So I'll be in chapter 14 tomorrow. conclude this book. I think that'll be the last chapter. All right, so that's it, man, for the day. Well, not many people tuning in, so I'll be back tomorrow for chapter 14. When March with Mad, getting the transform of basketball and being fall of humanity. So it's about the section of Eve, then it gets to the sin of Adam. Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 16 to 19. I'll be on the docket tomorrow. All right, so that's it. Like, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate it. So then, talk to you tomorrow.